It's one of nature's biggest puzzles. How can two honeybees have the exact same DNA, but one lives for just a few weeks, while the other, the queen, lives for years and lays thousands of eggs? Well, the secret isn't in their genes, it's in what they eat. So today, let's dive into the science behind the superfood that literally creates royalty, royal jelly.
So what is it? What's the magic ingredient that completely separates the queen from every other bee in the hive? It all boils down to one single, exclusive food source. And once you understand it, you start to see just how powerful nature can be.
And here's our answer: royal jelly. The best way to think of it is kind of like bee milk. It's this super potent milky stuff that young worker bees make. Now get this, all the baby bees, the larvae, get a little taste of it for a few days. But only one, the future queen, gets to eat this stuff exclusively for her entire life. That one change in her diet is what flips the switch, making her bigger, super fertile, and helping her live way, way longer.
Okay, so what exactly is in this stuff that makes it so special? Let's pop the hood and break down what this incredible substance is actually made of.
When you look at its basic makeup, it's pretty wild. Check this out. Once you take out the water, about half of what's left is pure protein. That is a huge amount. And of course, you've got your carbs, lipids, and minerals. But honestly, the real secret sauce, the thing that gives it its power, is in the specific molecules that you can't even see on a simple chart like this.
So let's zoom in. Let's get down to the molecular level and see what's really going on. Because it's not just the amount of protein that matters, it's the very specific types of proteins and other unique compounds that have scientists so fascinated.
All right, meet the stars of the show, the major royal jelly proteins, or MRJPs for short. There's a whole family of them, 9 to be exact, and they're basically the construction crew for building a queen bee. One of them, in particular, MRJP1, which also goes by the awesome name royal actin, is considered the master key. It's the one ingredient that seems to flip a larva's destiny from worker to queen.
And it's not just about protein. We also have this one-of-a-kind fatty acid, 10-HDA. So what's the big deal? Well, as far as we know, this stuff exists nowhere else in nature, only in royal jelly. That makes it the absolute gold standard for testing if a product is pure and high quality. Plus, it's got its own set of biological powers that researchers are still trying to fully understand. Okay, so clearly a game changer for bees. No question there. But the real question for us is, what can it do for humans? All this complex chemistry has led to a ton of research into its potential health benefits. So let's see what the actual evidence says.
First up, let's talk about heart health. Some really interesting studies have looked at royal jelly's effect on cholesterol. In one study, with healthy adults who had slightly high cholesterol, taking royal jelly for 3 months actually lowered their total cholesterol and their LDL-C, the bad cholesterol. That's a pretty big deal, since that's a key risk factor for heart disease.
And check this out. This is some really compelling data from a clinical trial on women with type 2 diabetes. Just look at these numbers. After only 8 weeks of taking 1,000 milligrams a day, the royal jelly group saw a significant drop in their fasting blood sugar. And maybe even more important, their glycosylated hemoglobin levels, which is a key marker for your long-term blood sugar control, also went down in a big way compared to the group taking the placebo.
And the story doesn't stop there. The potential benefits seem to extend to other areas too. Take this study, for example, which looked at postmenopausal women. Again, after 8 weeks on that same 1,000 milligram dose, the women taking royal jelly reported a significant drop in their overall menopausal score, which is basically a way of measuring a whole range of symptoms. It's pretty strong evidence that it could help make that transition a bit smoother.
Okay, this next one gets a little technical, but it shows something really fascinating about wound healing. On the left, you can see that in a mouse study, royal jelly actually helped wounds heal faster. The wound diameter got smaller, which is exactly what you want. But the chart on the right gives us a clue as to why. It shows a huge spike in a gene called CCL2. You can think of CCL2 as a chemical alarm that shouts, "Hey, we need a repair crew over here, now." It tells the body to get to work rebuilding tissue. It's an incredible look at the direct link between the supplement and the healing process right down to the genetic level.
So, we've talked about all these promising benefits. But, and this is a really big but, no supplement is perfect for everyone. It's absolutely essential that we talk about the fine print, the potential risks, and the safety stuff you need to know.
Okay, so here's the deal. The number one concern by far is allergic reactions. This is especially true if you have asthma or you already know you're allergic to bee stings, honey, or even certain trees. Seriously, there have been some pretty severe reactions reported, so you have to be careful.
It also might interact with blood thinners like warfarin, or it could lower your blood pressure. And just because we don't have enough data yet, it's best to steer clear if you're pregnant or breastfeeding.
So where does that leave us? Well, royal jelly is obviously a really complex and powerful natural substance, and there's a growing pile of research that suggests it has some real benefits. But as we just saw, it's not without risks. The bottom line, and all the sources are very clear on this, is summed up perfectly right here. You should always talk to your doctor or another healthcare provider before adding royal jelly, or really any new supplement, to your routine. It's a fascinating superfood for sure, but it's one that you've got to treat with respect.